They paid me double to clean Blackwood Elementary at night. Triple if I lasted a full month. Now I know why. I took the job because I needed the money. The application process was weird. No background check, no references. Just a 15-minute interview with a man who refused to look at me. Instead, he pushed a thin manila folder across the desk. Inside the folder was a contract, a floor plan and 3 rules, typed in red on a separate sheet of paper. Rule number 1, never answer the intercom after midnight. Rule number 2, if you hear crying in the girls' bathroom, wait until it stops to mop. And rule number 3, never look at the security monitors between 2:45 and 3:15 a.m. That was it. No questions, no clarification. He just said, stick to your route. Don't get curious. Then he walked away and locked the office from the outside. That night, I entered through the side door with a busted keypad. The air inside wasn't stale. It was listening. The lights buzzed overhead with a migraine hum. Every hallway smelled like bleach and wet pencils. I started mopping, humming to break the silence. But the quiet didn't break, it just held its breath. Then, at 12:17 a.m., the intercom crackled. Help me find my teeth, a child's voice whispered. I froze at the intercom. Rule number 1. Still, I asked, who is this? A low, scuttling noise answered. From inside the walls, the scuttling grew louder, chittering, scratching, then a wet thump behind the trophy case. I ran. In the janitor's closet, I slammed the door shut and locked it. On the top shelf, behind a moldy stack of work orders, I found something taped to the wall. A Polaroid photo of a man in a janitor's uniform, staring blankly at the camera. His lips were sewn shut with black thread. Below it, a mop leaning against the wall. The handle was tagged in Sharpie, "Do not use." The mop head was stiff and rust-colored. Not mold, dried blood. I heard the intercom again. Found one, the voice whispered, then static. When I stepped back into the hallway, every monitor on the nearby security wall lit up by itself. 12 screens, 12 angles. All of them showed one thing, a shadow crawling out from under a desk in classroom 3B. Rule #3 existed for a reason. At 2:47 a.m., I broke it. The camera feeds weren't just glitching, they were alive. One feed showed the gym from above. A figure stood upside down on the ceiling, swaying like a pendulum. Another feed showed lockers rattling, one by one, down the math wing. But the worst was camera 7. At exactly 2:47 a.m., a small, child-sized shape stood in classroom 3B. Face turned away. Each night it was always there, one frame closer than before. But tonight it moved. It turned to face me. Its head twitched like a corrupted video file. The face was smeared static, except for its mouth. Grinning wide, teeth sharpened to nubs. The camera blinked. The timestamp changed to 3:03 a.m. Then all feeds cut to black. I bolted for 3B. The door creaked open. Fluorescence flickered. The temperature dropped 10 degrees. Wet footprints led from the whiteboard to a closet. I opened it, and something breathed inside. Not air, not lungs. Like a bag inflating with meat. Before I could react, the intercom blared again, louder than before. A voice, not human, screeched, "You're it." Every light in the building popped at once. Glass rained from the ceiling. I ran, but wherever I turned, the footprints follow. New ones, always wet, always fresh, always one step ahead. I found the teacher's lounge and barricaded the door with a file cabinet. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I needed to think. The ceiling fan spun lazily, and I heard a faint knock coming from inside the vending machine. Above the sink, a sagging ceiling tile drew my eye. I climbed the counter, popped it open, and nearly fell backward. Stuffed into the crawl space was a burlap sack that reeked of copper and rot. Inside, a VHS tape labeled "Don't Watch Alone" in marker so aggressive it tore the label. A red-handled knife wrapped in a child's hair ribbon. A yellowed map of the school with thick red X's in impossible places. The middle of the hallway, ceiling corners, behind the nurse's cot. Under the sack, carved directly into the wooden beam. They learn your route. Each red X was part of a pattern, like a constellation. But worse, the kind your brain didn't want to understand. My flashlight flickered. Something giggled from inside the vents, and above the X's, lightly scratched and barely legible. The mop makes the circle. Don't finish the circle. Don't finish the circle. Room 104 had a working CRTV with a built-in VCR. I slammed the door shut, pressed play. The screen fuzzed into static, then hard cut to a man I recognized, the janitor from the Polaroid. He looked exhausted, lip stitches undone but still fresh. Blood crusted his chin. The tape jittered. He was in the hallway now, mopping robotically, but his mouth whispered, "They hide in the ducts. They hate the smell of bleach. Don't hum. It hears the tune." Lights behind him flickered. A locker opened by itself, and something thin crawled out upward, against gravity. Hard cut. Now he stood in the girls' bathroom, mop dragging. In the stall mirror, someone stood behind him, motionless, but not reflected in the real world. The janitor turned to the camera, sobbing. "The game isn't tag, it's ritual. They pick one every year. The rest stay here underground, waiting for someone to mess up." He stared straight at the lens, calm now. "You're next." Then, his face split open like rotten paper. The tape shredded itself inside the VCR. I sprinted to the main entrance. No go. Thick metal shutters blocked every door. I tried a window with a fire extinguisher. The glass bent but didn't break. The fire alarm system blared on its own, flashing strobes, but no sirens outside. No help. I was sealed in. Then came the PA system. First, static. Then, children's laughter, mocking, layered, not quite sensed. I moved through the hallways, now pulsing with unnatural heat. The lockers began popping open, one by one. From one, a small pale hand reached out. It held a tooth, still wet, and scrawled in chalk across the hallway floor in looping cursive. "Last round. Ready or not." My feet left wet prints behind me, though I hadn't stepped in water. Whatever I was running from wasn't behind me anymore. It was inside the building, and maybe inside me. The air was thick now, oily. I ducked into the science lab and overturned desks to block the door. Then I heard it, breathing. Not mine, not human. Fast, like a dog's panting, but with words in between. "Mop, mop." Circles done. From the sink, black water rose on its own. A shape took form, like something pushing through from the other side. I ran out just before the faucet exploded. In the hallway, a little girl stood at the far end. She was smiling. Her mouth took up half her face. "Tug," she said. She charged on all fours. I ducked into the gym, locked both doors, and turned on the lights. For a moment, silence. Then I looked up. On the ceiling, 12 figures crawled. Long limbs, broken necks, all grinning. They dropped. I hid in the boiler room, crushed behind shelves of old decorations. It was hot. The air buzzed with voices not in my ears, in my head. I found an old binder beneath a box of disintegrated flyers. The custodian handbook, dated 1997. Inside, the original rules, typed, but rule #4 was nearly torn through. What was left said, "If you hear your own voice, run. Do not trust reflections. Never step inside the chalk circle unless it cut off. Burn." Next page was a photocopied floor plan with a red circle drawn around the center hallway. Chalk smudges were visible on the carpet right now. It wasn't a workplace, it was containment. I wasn't maintaining the school, I was performing a ritual. And I finished the circle. I ran, didn't know where. Every hallway twisted, I turned left 5 times, ended up at the same hallway. Then I saw him. The janitor from the Polaroid. He was waiting by the mop sink. His jaw hung open now. No tongue, no eyes. But he saw me. I know he did. He dragged the bloodied mop behind him like a leash. It squealed. Behind him, the lockers opened. Children crawled out, limbs bending sideways. They wore old uniforms. Some had janitor badges. Previous hires. One little boy had no skin. He giggled like a music box playing too fast. The stitched-mouthed janitor held out his hand. A key, rusted, still warm. I didn't take it. He dropped it and said, clear as a bell, you mop, you trap them, you leave, or you stay forever. The second hand clicked at 2:45 a.m. The temperature dropped instantly. My breath fogged the air. The monitors flickered on. All 12 feeds. But I didn't see the school. I saw myself. Every monitor, every angle. Me, in different parts of the building. One version was scrubbing the nurse's cot with a wire brush. Another pushed a mop soaked in black sludge down the main hallway. Another just stood, smiling at the camera, mouthing something over and over. I was everywhere. But none of them were actually me. Some versions had no eyes. Others had mouths too wide, filled with too many teeth. One dragged its leg behind it like it had been broken years ago, and never healed. Another's mop left behind a trail of teeth, clicking as they bounced along the tile. And then, on camera 7, it moved. The me turned its head slowly. Its eyes were sunken black pits. Its mouth opened wider and kept opening, until its chin split down the middle like a rotten fruit. It stared directly into the lens. Into me. 2:59 a.m. The feeds glitched again. Static pulsed like a heartbeat. One by one, the cameras switched to a single view. The gymnasium, 12 monitors, 12 angles, all pointing at the same spot. The chalk circle had returned, perfectly drawn, faintly glowing like it was reacting to blood. And standing at its center, me again. But not glitchy. Not distorted. Perfect. This version of me stared at the ceiling, right at where the security camera would be, and started to move its lips. No sound, but I knew what it was saying. Tag, you're it. Again. Slower this time. Deliberate. Tag, you're it. The lights in the office buzzed louder, 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 louder. Then, gone. I turned. Nothing was there, but I felt it. Something slid behind my eyes, like cold oil dripping into my skull. My fingers curled on their own. My spine straightened. I couldn't move. And then, my arms picked up the mop. I smiled. I smiled. But not like me. Like them. Like I'd won the game. Or maybe lost it. Now I understand. I'm not a janitor. I'm the bait. The anchor. The ritual. The entity needs someone to believe the rules to reinforce the circle. And someone to break them to feed the trap. I broke all 3. I even found the 4th. So now, I'm part of it. My mop strokes are precise. I hum the tune they like. I keep the bucket full. Tomorrow, the new hire comes. They'll read the contract. They'll think the pay is good. They'll hear the 3 rules. I left the handbook where they'll find it. I scratched out rule #4 again. They shouldn't know. Not right away. It's no fun if they win the first round. At 12:17 a.m., the intercom will whisper, "Help me find my teeth." The mop's waiting. And the circle, always incomplete. Until it's not.